the Wanted album, and I think it's really nice. In my opinion, I expected them to go for a classic song because those are the class. If you're talking about Nigerian singers, those are our classic men.
Yeah,
so both of them on the track, I was expecting something that would, really stand the test of time. Maybe be a power ballad. Take for example,
you talk about natural talent. It doesn't get better than what they call and Two Face. Well, sometimes classics you don't. It happens and it doesn't happen. You can't. It's a good song at the end of the day, but
yeah.
Maybe if they go into the studio once again, they can come out with like everlasting green material. But not bad.
But let's analyze the other collaborations on the album. For me, he should be collaborating more with Burna Boy because
Yes.
two of the songs they collaborated on the album sounded awesome. I think they rub off on each other in the studio.
They have a synergy going on, and I think they should utilize it more. When I first heard Amorawa, like when they first released, I was like, whoa, what is this? Then on this album again, they did another remix of a song, and 2 out of 2, it's not a fluke. There must be something going on between Wande Cole and Burna Boy.
Okay. Now you put it like that. That sounds very wrong. But definitely they have some great music chemistry.
Yeah.
The track with Wizkid, what do you think?
It shouldn't have made the album. It was disappointing. I mean, Wande Cole, Wizkid is like Wande Cole's prodigy, and it was a letdown for me.
It was a letdown for you.
It was a letdown for me, yeah.
But a lot of people will beg to differ because it's the this usual club banging danceable song, and it's not like they were saying anything super creative,
Yeah, but it didn't just feel right for me. Like nah, this shouldn't. No, Wande Cole and Wizkid should do more than this, and it didn't just work out. Okay. I always had a problem with Wande Cole and Wizkid's collaborations from day one, anyway. So.
Oh, you didn't like the collaboration on Wizkid's album?
Nah, that's an unskippable track for me for Wizkid. So I'm like, nah.
Okay. All right, moving on. Let's look at production. Yes. Production of the album.
All-star production crew. We're talking Malik Berry, SARS, Legendary Beats, JFM, Beat Freaks. Who again am I missing out? I think that's about
Zella.
I mean, it's just a singer's dream, but Malik Berry should have come harder with the production. I think he should have orchestrated the production a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
The album doesn't have a story, doesn't have a theme, doesn't have a concept. It's not conceptual. It's just let's party, let's talk about chicks. Wande Cole has been out for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
That is a whole lot. There's no song on the album that talks about that.
Yeah.
Now, some people might say, hey, Wande Cole wants to move on, but if you look at great artists, they use their personal stories, their personal pain to create great tracks, and that is what this album is missing. So I feel on production side of things, they didn't get that right. They have the bangers, they have the instrumental, but orchestrating everything to make it a huge event, they just missed out on that opportunity.
Yeah. So, would you say, because we know that Wande Cole is a great songwriter, we know he has delivery, vocal delivery, and production-wise, yes, I think Malik Berry just gave him beats. I don't think it was a production. Like,
yes, if you give one a beat, he'll give it to you back. You give you a hit back, easy. But can a producer construct that album, an album that has a concept, that has a strong theme? And I think it's what Nigerian producers are lacking. If you listen to producers abroad, they don't just give you beats; they give you a story along with it, so that it lasts for more than 4 minutes that you play it. It's with you for a whole time. But somehow we haven't duplicated that right here in Nigeria.
Okay, all right, let's move on. I'm going to be playing one of the songs that you wouldn't like normally. It's a High Life track, by the way. I'm a big fan of High Life, and I've never really heard Wande Cole do a High Life song.
Yeah,
so
I was surprised.
Yeah, so he did like a couple, and of all the ones he did, I think I like this one, African Lady. Wande Cole Wanted album review on the Drop Spot. Into Wande Cole's brand new album, the Wanted album, sampling tracks on it. The young man puts in a lot of work. 6 years before he released this album, and we have some songs that we like, a whole bunch of songs that we like, and some of them they didn't like hit the mark and all that. So, any other things you noticed from the album?
With the producers, they stay clear of what I like to call Tumba music. Like, it's not the normal Tumba sound, normal pop sound we have in Nigeria.
Yeah.
They gave Wande Cole a different lane to roll with this time around. Some of the beats are very, very laid back, and you can cruise to them. That's a nice vibe, chilled out vibe to it. It's not the normal stuff you hear on radio, which is a plus for them. Even though I spoke about the downside of the production on this album, I think it's a plus for them. They didn't do the normal hard beating Nigerian beats for Wande Cole, so I think that was a big up to them.
Okay, so here's a question that a lot of people have at the back of their mind. I just want to get your take on it. Was Don Jazzy missing on this album?
Nope, I don't think Don Jazzy was missing on this album at
Why
all.
don't you think so?
Why? Because if you're talking about bangers, Wande Cole has them on this album. If you're talking about laid back track, love tracks, he has them on this album. I don't think Don Jazzy would have given Wande Cole anything more than what he has given himself on this album.
But they created a masterpiece before.
Yes, but we have to ask ourselves, Don Jazzy have not created a masterpiece since Maven.
Since Maven.
Yes.
But
so,
okay, let's look at the songs. Let's look at the bangers, banger for banger. Let's look at the songs that he released shortly before he left Maven.
which was a while ago.
Rotate.
Yeah, that was hot.
Let's look at the kick.
Yeah, the kick was hot.
Let's look at songs like Go Low.
Yeah.
Songs like Been Long You Saw Me.
Yeah.
Can you compare those tracks to anything on this album?
Yeah, bro, those songs are bangers, and they are bangers on this album. I'm saying yes.
Production wise, you know, like when you hear
The
a
same
track
thing.
and you be like, no producer would have thought of starting a song like this.
Granted, Don Jazzy is the king of club hits in Nigeria. We can't fault him with that. But with this one, if he produced on this album, would I just give him Wande Cole more club hits? Would have made the album a whole lot better to me. But would I just give him Wande Cole?
I disagree.
Nah.
I actually think that event that we're looking for in this album, that Wande Cole speaking about whatever needs to be spoken about, with a Don Jazzy produced album, if you saw the album through, they would have had something. The album would have been about something more.
Yeah, but
just,
like I said, since with Maven, we've not seen Don Jazzy do that with any album that he released under Maven. So it's not a guarantee that if Don Jazzy was with Wande Cole, they would have done that. We heard the Princess album, we heard Dr. C's album. Yes, there are bangers.
But those are different kind of artists. I mean,
he writes for them, so what's the problem?
He doesn't always write for Wande Cole. They write together.
No, yeah, I know. I'm talking about the other guys, not Wande Cole.
Okay. All right, let's give it back to Wande Cole here. The album definitely amazing. Yes, another distinct characteristics of the album, and something that made us, when we saw the track list, we were like, wow, these are way too many tracks. But he has 4 skits.
Yeah, everybody doing skits now. Everybody wants to go back to the 90s. Some skits there were not needed. I think the intro itself was not needed.
Trust me.
In my version, I kept Fauzi's skit as the intro, and I took out the main intro.
The main intro.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could do away. In fact, I wouldn't miss any
then
of the
the last skit, the special one, not necessary.
Not necessary. Okay, if they wanted to keep the skits, they could have just kept it at 2. Fowl's skit and Jimmy's skit. Yeah, they should have just left it at that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one of the excesses of the album, things that they should have
They just try to go
better.
for the 90s feel, but it's not that easy to get that.
Okay. All right, let's just rate the album.
Okay, I've done this before.
How many mics?
Oh, you want to do mics like sauce? Okay. 3.5 over 5 is
3.5 over 5.
Yeah.
Okay. For those of you, for the benefit of those people that don't really understand the 5 mics rating, let's just rate the album over 10.
What, 10? I give it a 6.
A 6?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, definitely. I think I agree with that.
Yeah, 6.
I agree with that. A 6. All right. Thank you very much for stopping by. We'll play one of your songs.
Which one?
Okay. Of all the songs that you wrote down that I have not played, which one? I want you to pick a song.
Weekend, man.
Weekend. Okay. Weekend
that.
featuring Malik Berry. All right. Off the Wanted album by Wande Cole. So go out and grab a copy right about now. And thank you very much for listening to the Drop Spot right here. And big shout outs to you again, Ayomide Tayo from Pulse NG, for coming through to analyze the album with us as well. And big shout outs to my producer as well, Diola Adeyemo, and Uche as well. Okay, let's just do this track, The Weekend, featuring Malik Berry by Wande Cole.
Yeah. Says she only need a man for the weekend, yeah.